Some of you here were probably honor students when they were junior high. Some of you were student council leaders in their junior high. Some of you were varsity players, social butterflies, maybe even special cookies. We once had a place in our previous homes. In fact, I was actually a person that was the student council president. I was a person on the robotics team, a guy in the newspaper, a person who would be at every other gig of the school. But the thing is, when we transferred here in LaSalle, all of that became irrelevant. Once we considered ourselves large fishes in small ponds, but the moment we get into LaSalle, we actually realize that we're not. That we are actually small fishes in larger ponds. Because the time that we get here in LaSalle, realize that when the population is vast and the skill gaps are huge, realize everybody else is better than us. Everyone else is better than math. Everyone else is better in terms of leading and the things that you take pride of. And that feeling for a lot of us is new because we were pampered in our previous homes. But the thing is, as the self-doubt creeps in, realize that it's only gonna get worse from here. That by the time we get into college, it's probably gonna be a larger pond. That by the time we finish college, in the workforce, it's probably an ocean out there. What I'm telling here is it's probably gonna get worse. Life and transition here in LaSalle was hard. I'm gonna paint you a picture of how exactly I transferred here. I was tagged as the weird kid in school. Before this, I was a crackhead in my previous school. I was the guy who made weird jokes. I was the guy who made all those spontaneous puns and all that. And I thought that would work here in LaSalle. Because on my first day, I was in a section called ABM 11F. And the crackhead that I was, I gathered all my boy classmates and went around the school telling people that we are the F boys. It was a bad pun, and the reception of it was even worse. That day, I was tagged as the weird kid. And most people didn't approach me back then. Most people didn't like me back then. And for a lot of us, that story doesn't just apply to me. It applies to you too. When you think that maybe your math skills would work here. When you think that maybe your personality would work here. For a lot of us, we didn't immediately click into LaSalle. Life and transition here was tough. To add to my failures, I'm part of the debate team. And to give you context as to how cruel debate is, we work a lot in terms of debating. We train 3 times a week, 4 to 7 p.m. We even go to competitions 2 times a month. But the thing is, we sacrifice a lot of our time and we sacrifice a lot of our money and effort into this. But debating is not exactly rewarding to everybody. Only 10 people out of hundreds are eventually recognized as the best speakers of the event. I've never won one. The achiever that I was, I felt so devastated. I started to feel like I was putting all my eggs in one basket after my junior high year, where I essentially was diversifying when I could do everything, but now I'm failing in a debate. It felt like there was no more avenue to grow, that I've peaked and I could not achieve anymore. That's what I said when I cried in an attic in Los Baños in a competition last year. A lot of us feel that way here. My debate teammates who also didn't win a lot of things. To people that put so much work in academics, but won't get an award in graduation because of a prof that gave you a low mark, or stat pro that made you lose that silver award. That phenomenon is something we all share. The feeling of not being enough one way or another, even though you've put so much work in it. In these moments of despair, that's when we crawl out of this bubble of self-deprecation. It was an opportunity for things and for things and reflection to understand myself. It was only a matter of time that maybe I realized I haven't peaked, that there is room to grow. One of the things that got me out of this slump was a video from YouTube, and out of the most unexpected places, it was a guide for a video game called Overwatch.
The thing is, I learned there this line graph of growth where it tells you growth over time. And this applies not just to the video game, but to our passions, our academics, or whatever it is we do in life. So at the start of the game, you learn how to click, to use your skills and know your role. It goes up, but by the time you get to the second month of playing, you plateau. You don't grow and you stay the same. You don't know any better. But as you keep and keep on playing, you realize small things, little things, that maybe I shouldn't be playing my role this well. Wait, maybe I should be using a different strategy. Maybe I'm not playing the right time as I am supposed to. Then it goes up again. Then you plateau again. Then it goes up again. It's a continuous cycle of growth that essentially taught me two things. The first thing is, growth doesn't go down. You can only go either forward or upward. Meaning, what you've learned in the past can't be unlearned. Maybe you've led in the past. Maybe you've learned math in the past. But you might get rusty at it. But it doesn't mean you will forget it. You stay the same place. The second thing, and the most valuable thing I got from this graph, was that it gives me hope. Hope that maybe all it takes for me to grow again is one perspective shift. Changing the way I do things, changing the way I do my speeches, changing the time I sleep, changing my routine daily. Because that constant change and that constant realization of changing up things will lead you to greater heights. The perspective shift allowed me to push through on my pursuit of excellence. I was attending training with vigor, reciting and asking questions at every chance that I can. I was doing extra work outside training, reading every day, discovering an educational podcast, hell, even making speeches in the LRT while I was going home. All this for debate. But even then, I wasn't getting the success that I was craving. Because the success that I was craving that time was to be like Dave. Dave is a debater that I know. He's a person that when he comes into the stage, you know that he's already gonna win. That it doesn't matter what other people are gonna say. You know he's that good. That type of respect was something I was aiming for. And no matter how much I worked hard for it, it never really manifested in the way I did it. Until I watched the documentary on Netflix. It's called Losers. Losers is a documentary about sportsmen and sportswomen who train every day, who go to competitions yearly, but they always fell short of actually getting awards and trophies. And that's where I realized, maybe debating isn't necessarily about all the awards and all the championships that I was craving for. Maybe there was something more to it. Because a lot of the times, we think that it's the end. We think that winning the game is the end of it. For these people, those losers, the sport that they love goes beyond that. The sport that they love inspires people when they hear their stories of pushing through and doing stuff. Maybe the reason why I wasn't achieving the type of success that Dave was getting was because I was trying to be like Dave. And that's the problem that we have right now. Our standards for success are based off of someone else. It's time for us to say that my standard of success comes from within. It doesn't come from the influencers. It doesn't come from people I know. It doesn't come from random people and peers. The standards that I consider success should come from within. And right now, my standard is not getting awards. It's not being a champion. Rather, my standard is just speaking here. Being, I guess, having an impact if I do. I guess speaking, having the courage to do things, even though I have the potential to embarrass myself in front of here. That type of excellence, my standard of excellence, is something that we have to pursue. We keep on looking around, asking for validation among other people if we are excellent. But what we need to recognize is maybe our definition of excellence should not depend on them, but it should come from us. The type of definition that makes ourselves proud even if nobody affirms that we're excellent. This leads me to my next discussion of excellence. As a self-proclaimed loser, I still consider myself excellent. How then do we define it? I just want to establish it here that excellence is arbitrary, meaning it's different from you, different from me. But I consider my definition as a type of mantra, an attitude into approaching things. Something that does not depend on my skill, my abilities, the things that I have done, and the things that I am about to do. It is the type of excellence that believes in the willingness to push through, especially at the face of adversity. The type that participates in 30 debate tournaments and only winning one. The type that believes in himself. Because one of my favorite quotes that I read somewhere is, you don't become the best without thinking that you are the best. The type that grabs opportunities at every chance that he can. Because before I applied here to TED, or before applying to student council, and even to the debate league, there is a self-doubt that maybe I wouldn't be good enough. But I always tell myself that if I do this, I'm a rock star. If I don't, I'm still me. It's a win-win regardless. I took this opportunity to speak in TED Talk knowing of the risks. The risks that maybe I'm underqualified. The risks that maybe I'll probably pee my pants here. Or maybe I'll humiliate myself. But the thing is, the potential risk of humiliating myself is but little compared to the potential benefit of me maybe having an impact on someone. Maybe inspiring someone as they walk out of here and do the things that they love the most. And know that this is but a small cost compared to the large cost of making someone happy. To conclude my speech, I just want to say that the main point of all of this is for you not to listen to me. Not listen to me as to what excellence should be. I shouldn't be here to dictate to you what exactly you should do when you go out. Because your definition of excellence should be different from mine. You shouldn't be expecting me to change your life or to motivate you to be better today with just a few words from a person you barely know. Because the whole point is to tell you that excellence comes from within, that motivation and change will come from within. Excellence from within, even if you're a small fish in a large pond. Nobody can and will decide what you will do in the next 24 hours but yourself. We can still grow, and all that it takes is a perspective shift in the graph. A perspective shift that is optimistic about our growth, a perspective shift that is optimistic about our ceiling as a person. It's a perspective shift that adjusts its standards of excellence that does not necessarily depend on someone. Rather, it is the relentless pursuit of the goals that we believe in. It is continuing what you think you're best at, even if you're at a university where everyone else is better than you, where even nothing seems to be working, like my F-boys joke. I still found a place here in DLSUSHS, where even all the eggs that have cracked in my basket, I was still able to make something of all those little eggshells that were in the floor. You make do with what you have out of it. And to tell you, my brand of excellence is being able to stand up here with the possibility, again, to embarrass myself. That courage is my own standard, my willingness to go for greater heights. So the next time you want to go out here and you ask yourself, am I good enough? Am I excellent enough? Have I peaked enough? I think you need to look in the mirror and say, yes. Thank you.